I just got done seeing one battle after another starring Leonardo DiCaprio, and I absolutely loved it. Now, honestly, I think this movie might be up for Movie of the Year, and I'll tell you exactly why. The acting was absolutely phenomenal, both on an individual level, but also as a collective. It seemed that everyone really felt their acting role and really did their shit. Like, it felt like this could be a real life event that occurred and everyone was just living it. I mean, I was totally immersed in this fictional story that took place in real life, and I feel like this was something that made it so much more entertaining and enjoyable for it. It never felt like one of the characters was acting in terms of me trying to dissociate what is the movie and what, is actually being recorded at this time. I couldn't do it. I felt like I just had such a fun time watching it and following along with this kind of peculiar but not totally unimaginable story. And I feel like the point that it really straddled the line of something that could happen or something that might be a little bit too fantastical to happen. Individually, Leonardo DiCaprio is a one-of-a-kind actor. I really need to watch more of his movies. I mean, his nuance in his role is something that I've never seen out of him before. Usually when I think of him, I think of Great Gatsby and, the more stoic and mysterious side of him. But we saw something completely different in this movie. Really, the curtains pulled back and him being this dad figure who has a big trauma that he has never gotten over with, and yet he has to now go along his own path and ultimately save his daughter. And I feel like this, infused with narcotics and alcohol, really made it such an interesting story that I would say was relatable, because I'm not someone who is addicted to either of those two, but it really was cool to see how those aspects were infused into the actual life, and maybe some similarities that we all can share with him in that position. And I feel like the supporting cast really did their thing. Shout out to Chase Infinity. She absolutely did an amazing job. I don't think I've ever seen her in a role, but honestly, she was really exciting to watch. Every moment you could tell that she was very meticulous and calculating. Both are really good combinations of her parents, and I feel like that came through and made it seem like a realistic nature. She had her mom, who's the more rebellious figure, and then of course her dad, who is kind of all over the place, and there's so much depth just to that storyline alone. And I think that the plot development was one of my favorite things. I really loved how every single moment the plot wasn't beaten over our head, but it was kind of just revealed gradually as we got to know more and more about our characters. There were certain clues and tricks here that were left, but nothing that was too obscure that way you didn't really understand what was going along. I mean, honestly, it wasn't a high level confusing movie, but there were just so many motifs and themes that you had to be open and receptive to fully understand. One of the things being that our main character was never really seen as a revolutionary, but yet all of his acts that happen, he ends up creating a revolution amongst others around him. And it's so beautiful to see how he doesn't even recognize that, but he is obviously a big cog in the wheel. He's very focused and has tunnel vision on getting his daughter back, but the butterfly effect of everything else that cascades around him. I think that everyone really did their thing, and it just made it so much of an immersive and enjoyable movie that I honestly can't wait to see again. I would highly recommend this movie to every single person out there. I think that as we talk about revolutionaries and people that, see the world or don't really align with the status quo, specifically in America, we tend to ostracize them and marginalize them as people that, are on the fritz or whatnot. And I think that this movie does a great job of showing that spectrum of how everyone is able to be a revolutionary in their own right. And I can't wait for you to find out what that is for you. Let's go. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and as always, I will see you next time.